couldn't even see that. Well, there's quite a delay on that. How big a delay is it? 20 seconds? So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the State of the Village Address 2026. Appreciate your attendance, and as always, your input is appreciated. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the last events of the last few days, the freezing, the utilities that are out, the electricity, and so many people have been out with several days and probably aren't able to watch this on Zoom or on YouTube. And so we just need to be, cognizant of that these folks are still having a rough time. I know the P&M has brought in some extra contractors, and they're working very hard on getting electricity back up. And I talked to them earlier in Upper Canyon. They have the 3-phase already up, and they're working on the laterals. They expect to have a lot more on this evening and then be complete in Upper Canyon by tomorrow afternoon. So anyway, we appreciate the partnership with P&M, bringing in the extra resources. And that just says a lot on how that we've had the last couple of years. And so as I come before you tonight to deliver this, we want to just hit some of the highlights. But some of the things that really come to my mind is just the expression of gratitude that I have for the people of this community, how we've reached out neighbor to neighbor, business to business. And, a lot of communities don't do that. And I get calls all the time from other communities that they don't have that luxury and their communities are falling apart. Well, ours isn't. This is a very resilient community, and the folks of this community, the business people, are very resilient. The South Fork and Salt fires, followed by the devastating floods, changed our landscape forever, and our lives. And a lot of things are not going to be the same in our lifetimes, and so we need to understand that. But they did not, and it will not change the perseverance and just the integrity that we have it as a community. So now is a chance that we have to rebuild the community in the expression that we want to go forward moving into the future. I know many of you share my disappointment with the track closing, and I assure you it's not forever. And by that assurance, I mean that it's not over. We're still working on it. I met with General Manager earlier today. There's still discussions going on. We're still working with the state and federal authorities. We're still working with other people that have an interest in the track. So we are working diligently to keep that racetrack here. Whether you went to the track, whether you had horses, whether you worked at the track, it does not matter. It is woven throughout this community that all of the businesses felt the benefit of the track. We realize that it's a revenue generator, an industry cluster of around $150 to $180 million. And that's not something that we can just replace in one fell swoop. But it's, like I said, it's not over yet. The 2026 season, if you haven't heard, will be ran in Albuquerque. The horse sales will be here, and the casino will still be open. So we've been preparing for some time just to let you know that in the event something like this were to happen with the racetrack or indeed Ski Apache, those fires could have taken out Ski Apache. And not too many years ago, we had the Little Bear fire that burned all over that area. So different committees that we've had here at the village and the council has been working on alternative plans, indeed, that we can strengthen our economy. Instead of having just a two-legged economy that's based on tourism, and we all know that our industry is tourism. But our financial future is very strong, and our position today is very strong. And most people don't know, but you're welcome to look online. We have doubled our GRT from 2017 to 2025. So that ought to let you know that we're doing some things correctly, that we're making strides, and we intend to continue on in that vein. So tonight, I'm pleased to report, despite the challenges that we faced, our village remains on solid financial footing. We began the fiscal year with a cash balance of $75.3 million, and our projected revenues of $121.6 million. That's giving us nearly $197 million in available resources. Now, that does not mean that we can spend that money on anything. To give you a basic civics lesson on how New Mexico municipalities work, we get about 13% of our budget from property tax, business tax. The rest of our money comes from GRT, the gross receipts tax, that our businesses collect when they're doing good, the village does good. And the rest is done on grants. And we work hard. There's not another community, not another county that works as hard as we do on grants, and I doubt if there's that many that are as successful as we are. So we will continue, but those funds are restricted. And what that means is when we get a grant in, it can only be spent on what the grant was for. So that's why some of these issues that we're having around the community with why we're not cleaning up the river frontage along Suttereth. Why have we not removed some of those buildings? These funds are not earmarked for that. Another reason, the main reason for that, is that it's private property. And so we're working with ownership of those properties to be able to take advantage of either a FEMA a program or an NRCS buyback program, which we're getting very close. The county's taking the lead on that, and we're looking at about a $235 million funding source on that, and we've been working legislatively very diligently to get the matching funds, because with every one of these grant dollars that we get, we have to have a matching component. The village has 12.5% of whatever that number is. The county has 12.5% of that. So for $235 million, just simple math, will tell you that's around $60 million. So we've been working hard with the legislators and the governor's office to make sure that when the time comes, we can get that funding. And so far, we have those assurances. We've seen a strong increase on our GRT, and for a lot of people, that's hard to believe, over 2024, because 2024 was a very good year. And indeed, we've seen about a 10% increase in lodger's tax. The year before that, we set a record $3 million. Last year in 2024, with the interruption that we had from the fires and the floods, we dropped down to a little over $2 million. We're on pace to actually beat that. We're halfway through our fiscal year, and we've already reached all of our goals as far as staying on point on budget. So that's a very good thing, because your village council, while we budget, and we're getting ready to go through our strategical planning starting tomorrow. And so the council will be in here for 8 hours a day for however many days it takes to get these budgets down. But once these budgets are set, we budget very conservatively on expenses. And, I got that backwards. We budget liberally on expenses and conservatively on revenues. And so I'm happy to say, even with all the ups and downs that we've had, we're staying on budget. We're meeting all of our numbers. And we want to continue on with the increase. And so from just the recent past history, we just received our GRT numbers. It was revenue that was realized in October that we actually get on our GRT in December, and those numbers are up. And so obviously we're doing something right. The recovery is in process. Does that mean it's all great and rosy for everybody? No. And we realize that. There's a lot of our businesses, there's still a lot of our citizens that were displaced that do not have the things just that basic necessity of life require. And they're still living in hotels, they're still living in rentals, and we are working diligently on those different programs to get them to come through fruition. And we're getting closer by the day, but I can tell you, we're working hand in hand with the county, with the tribe. They've been very instrumental in helping us get forward, and now then with the Ruidoso Downs. So all of these things are working together for the greater good of the entire county, and a lot of that is right here in the village of Ruidoso. Now, as our community rebuilds and FEMA projects begin construction, We anticipate significant increases in those gross receipts tax because of the destination tax receipts that was passed several years ago. And the village was a big supporter of that legislation. But what that means is the work that's done here in the village with all of these contractors, the village will be getting the GRT off of that. So while that's good for the village as a whole, and we remain strong because it's important that the village remains strong so we can provide what people have become accustomed to, the necessities, basic services, water, trash pickup, working on our streets, all of the different things that we do. That does not mean that our businesses will be enjoying that at the same time. So we realize with the track closing that there's going to be a downturn in GRT. So we're working diligently on replacing that with Team Tourism and the Lodgers Tax Board. One of the things that you need to know is that we have a healthy reserve, and we need those reserves to use for our matching that I mentioned earlier. The grants that we receive, all of them have a matching component. Some of them are small and some of them are pretty hefty. So without having that matching component, we wouldn't be able to take advantage of the grants. But before we even get to getting the grant, we have to make sure that our audits are clean. And for the past, I don't know how many years, I can remember when I first got on the council, we had over 200 audit findings, which let me just say is not good. But for the last few years, we've had just perfect audits, 0 audit findings. We just finished an audit and we'll know very soon, but I do not expect anything. Yeah, I'm getting the don't say nothing yet because we haven't got the official word. But I expect nothing less than what we've been doing in the past because we have good policies and procedures in place to make sure that any of the things that have happened in the past, that we don't do them again. This year, we've started work on over $11 million in capital projects. Now, these are different projects than the desilting, the silt removal, all the debris removal that we had during the fires. This is different. These are just construction projects. They're economic engines. They're not just construction projects. They're economic engines that generate jobs, support local businesses, and create the gross receipts tax revenue that funds our operations. A third of these projects are financed by grants we've secured from federal and state agencies, and so we're able to stretch those tax dollars as far as we can. In March, you will have the opportunity to vote on a continuing mill levy, the GO bonds, okay, that fund our critical water infrastructure improvements. We've been doing this since 2014, and this project has provided $18 million for water system improvements that serve our community every single day. And I encourage you to support this vital program. And let me just share a few of them that we've done with you that have been done over the years. And there's so many, I can't obviously remember them. But DePaulo Drive, putting in new water, sewer, new streets, rollover curbs. Alto treatment plant improvements, that was $2.6 million. Country Club tank replacement. These big water tanks that you see around town, they constantly have to be updated, and at some point their useful life is no more. That was replaced. That was $1,360,000. Hemlock Circle 2, we redid the same thing with the infrastructure, sewer lines, water lines. Paradise Canyon lateral replacements, that was completed this last year, $788,000. Pine Cliff water replacement, that was a few years back. We used to have tremendous amount of water leaks in front of K-Bob's and right there off of 70. So we've been able to replace all of those water lines. That was $2.5 million. Town and Country subdivision, which is over here behind Pioneer Bank in that area. That's been completed. Again, water, sewer lines, streets, rollover curbs. Different install on endpoints, Country Club water system improvements, that's in progress. That's just right over here on High Loop. And Innsbrook subdivision, a lot of the water line replacements, and we have yet to finish the paving on that. We were interrupted by a few flash floods. And so as soon as the weather permitting, we'll be back in there getting that done. So that's what your GO bond pays for. This shows you that we actually put it to use, and we're not all talk. And so I appreciate the staff and the folks, and especially the citizens of the village, and continuing to support that initiative. Our bond rating, even with all of the things that have happened and all the funding that we've expended and the money that we're waiting on reimbursement from FEMA, remains strong. It's in the upper medium to high grade range. It's a testament to our fiscal responsibility and confidence the financial markets have in our community in Ruidoso. And so that comes with the clean audits. And once again, we've turned our budget in on time. And you'd be surprised at how many communities in our local area are not able to get their audits in, clean audits, because they can't get their budgets in. It's critical that our finances remain strong, and it goes from there to our water and to everything else that makes this community work. Our departments, we have the most wonderful, dedicated employees that any community could have. They've proven it over and over. Let me just share some remarkable work that the village employees have accomplished in public safety. Responded to 28 flash flood warnings during the monsoon season. And I don't know if the public knows it, but we have our own what is it, Chief? No, high water vehicle, but thank you, everybody. Swift Water Rescue Team. See, it takes a bunch of people to make this work. It's not just the mayor that does all of these things. It's all the people that work together. And sometimes, you have that little blank stare, but we have our own Swift Water Rescue Teams now, and so that we can be better prepared to serve our public. We have Ruidoso's first seasonal wildland division and modernized our fleet with new engines. Our police department has implemented new technology systems, increased staffing with competitive recruitment, and that has started to work. I mean, we've got more officers and less vacancies than we've had since I've been mayor, and that's been a few years. So I'm really appreciative of the hard work that our police staff is doing. Our Office of Emergency Management opened up our new Emergency Operations Center, fully implemented our outdoor warning system. Well, hopefully you folks heard that. We have a voiceover, and I know we still have a few little glitches, but we'll have those worked out pretty soon. But I want you to note that our emergency manager office is pretty new. And we also have a deputy manager now, but we have the emergency manager of the year here in New Mexico. And so we appreciate the hard work, and that's kind of a theme that you're going to hear. Some of our employees in departments have been outstanding here in the state and have been noticed by the powers that be. And that's just one of them, Eric Queller. And now then he has a deputy manager, and so we're excited to have Lynn here too. Public Works completed rapid construction of Paradise Canyon Drive, and that is just temporary work. That is, by the time we get the engineering and the funding, we're going to have to redo all of Paradise. So that work over there is temporary. We had to upsize the culverts that are there. And so all of that work is temporary, but that is just showing you the fast action. In fact, we were so quick to get on it that we had a big flood before we were able to finish it, and it ripped the concrete and the culverts just right out of the ground. So we appreciate all the hard work for Public Works, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about all the independent contractors that we have working with us too, because the people that we're talking about at the village are the same ones that have everyday jobs, and then when we have these emergencies, they're called on to do an additional job and work incredible hours, and we expect them to do incredible things, and they do. But then it's the incredible local contractors that work with us too that make sure that we get it all done. The information technology, hopefully everybody understands now that we have over 125 miles of fiber of 1 gig. We're trying to become a gig market, so that everybody can be on the internet. You can stream your videos. You can do all the things that we've talked about for years. That was one of the main issues behind finances and water on our comprehensive plan from 2019. And I'm happy to say that we've been able to complete that. That we have, I know there's about 75% of the residents right now have the ability to get on it. There's still some few places that we're working on. And in fact, the process and the program is so successful that now the county, they're reaching out to Kinetic to be able to put fiber and gig into the county. So we're putting in a redundant system where this goes to the cloud. It's also going to be stored on site so that we don't ever lose the information. We have continuity no matter what happens here. And soon we will have a redundant system. So if we have a fiber cut in Las Cruces, that we don't go dark. And we're hoping that that day comes very soon. And we'll be counting the days till that happens. I know we talk to those folks all the time. Parks and Recreation secured more than $3 million in grant funding and served 937 youth participants across all of our sports programs. Now, that's not just the kids and the folks here in the village of Ruidoso. That's people and kids in the county. So people in Capitan, people in Hondo, and so on and so forth. And so I applaud our Parks and Rec department. They do a great job. And they've, if you've noticed the new bathrooms that they've put around town, that was always a big issue. That was another thing that was requested on our comprehensive plan previously. And so kudos to the Parks and Rec department. Now, tourism is, like I said before, is our industry. And we know that, and that's not even a question. And so tourism maintained our position as a premier destination, earning a Community Resilience Award from the New Mexico Hospitality Association. On their own, across the state, they look at different communities, and the comment was, we can't believe that you guys are coming back as fast as you can, because they see our GRT numbers. You know, they see our finances because they're at the state, and then we put them online. And so we were awarded with that from the Hospitality Association, and that's something that you don't advertise or lobby to get. They give it to you out of merit. Our recovery focused on strategy, and Still We Rise was the content. We approached and received statewide recognition, and I'll let you know that Team Tourism, that's headed by Carrie Gladden, won the award for the Professional of the Year. So here we have one in emergency management, now we have one in tourism. So we must be doing something right. And I tell you again, working with the Lodgers Tax Committee, Team Tourism, and others, Eddie Ryan is a big part of that those people are one of the key components, one of the gears in this cog of this machine that is the village that makes it work. Forestry completed fuel reduction on 182 acres, inspected and certified 871 properties for wildfire safety, and launched the fire barrier project with 302 acres and enrolled in the Camelot area. And if you haven't been up to Camelot, you'll see a lot of thinning that's gone on up there. And we're going to talk about some of those trees here in just a minute. But now then we've got some thinning we're going to be doing on the west side of Carrizo Canyon. And so I really applaud the forestry department. And if you folks don't know it, but we're the only community in the state of New Mexico that has our own forestry department. And so we have defensible space ordinances, and that ties into insurance premiums, our insurance services offices, our ISO rating, which goes to ratings for insurance premiums. We have all that right here in the community. And so these are things that our predecessors and the councils in the previous and now then currently think about daily and make sure that we fund them properly. So we appreciate all of the things that are going on and where we're going in the future. The community center was awarded $2.179 million for an expansion. Anthony and his staff over there are second to none. They have many different daily projects going on over there, games, workout equipment, but he has been able to get a grant that's going to pretty much, I don't think it's going to double the size, but it's going to make that place a lot larger, be able to service a lot more of our community members. And they, through the Retired Senior Volunteer Program, if you ever wondered what RSVP stood for, that's what it stands for, maintained 238 active volunteers who contributed over 23,000 hours, and that provided an estimated $809,000 in savings to our community. That says a lot about you, the public, and you are the backbone. I say that all the time, the fabric of this community, that you give so much back to the community, and that's a perfect example. The regional wastewater treatment plant maintained year-round compliance while beginning our long-anticipated solar project. We're excited about the solar project that'll save us, we're hoping, around $500,000 a year on electricity. Our water production successfully delivered safe drinking water with 0 violations while completing the Phase 1 tank rehabilitation project and rebuilding the Eagle Creek intake structure. The New Mexico Environmental Department, during all these fires and floods, spent a lot of time here helping us, and most of you will remember certifying that our water was safe, that it wasn't contaminated, and they said that white papers are going to be written about our water production and our wastewater production plant because our employees performed way above expectations. They were highly trained, highly knowledgeable, and did their job. We could have lost our water system completely, but we didn't. It was because of the people that ran those departments and the people that were in the field and knew what was happening. And when these floodwaters were just coming on strong down at the wastewater treatment plant, the staff stayed there, worked 24 hours a day around the clock, slept on cots, and it didn't smell too nice down there, Isaac. But you guys stayed after it. And you saved this community hundreds of millions of dollars. And that is recognized by the New Mexico Environmental Department. So I'm looking forward to the white paper that's written about you guys. One of the things that when we first came on, I did as a counselor, we were in trouble with the New Mexico Environmental Department. Big trouble. I used to hate it when they come to town. And it was always the things we had done wrong and we were doing wrong. Now then, they don't call anymore, except for to say, wow, great job. We're going to be sending people down to look at you guys because you're the epitome of best practices. So we appreciate that. So you guys do a great job. The library achieved full staffing, and if you haven't and you don't understand the library, you need to go check it out because they do a wonderful job. The staff is amazing. They've modernized the facilities with automatic door openers, upgraded technology, an expanded community program. The airport began operation, infrastructure modernization, and it finally finalized the construction of the renewable fuel products facility. That one of the things that we're going to talk about is the airport property here in just a little bit. We've got big plans for that airport. We've got a master plan that hopefully soon we'll be completing, as we do master plans for a lot of different departments. And we've put in for grants with FAA. And so that is one area that is the front door to our community for a lot of people, and we want to make sure it's a good one. And so we're looking forward to the future of what's going to be going on out at the airport. That we're working on events that showcase our community. This year we successfully hosted major events that brought thousands of visitors and international attendance and attention to Ruidoso. Xterra Gold Cup Triathlon in August attracted 450 plus athletes and offered 58 qualifying slots for the World Championships. We hosted the New Mexico Municipal League Conference in September, welcoming more than 500 municipal employees for 4 days of professional development. And that's a big deal. The Xterra is an international event that's been in Hawaii for many years and recently in Italy, and now it's in good old USA right here in New Mexico. And this coming summer, we'll be hosting the World Championship, so it'll be televised internationally. The Lost Bus, everybody was in line for that. Some of us stood out there so long we were sunburned beyond belief. But it is up for an award for outstanding visual effects. That was the film starring Matthew McConaughey. And so in that same vein, we've been working with directors on different type of movies that have been shot here in the community. And we appreciate the directors on those films, and one in particular, Daniel Cummings, that we've been working with to shoot a documentary or a docu-series, they're not sure which one just yet, about the effects the fires and the floods have had on the citizens of Ruidoso. He has done a lot of in-depth interviews with locals, just how it affected them and in kind of the recovery process. And so it's just about complete. And then we hope to have a film festival coming up soon where we can show that. Looking ahead, we'll host the 2026 Ironman 70.3 Triathlon in July, the 2026 Xterra World Championship in October, and the 2026 Outdoor Economic Conference also in October. These events bring not just visitors and revenue, but global recognition of Ruidoso as a premier destination for outdoor recreation and outdoor athletic excellence. So we have the perfect thing that God gave us. Nature's beautiful here, and we want to talk about use, not overuse. And that's been a mantra for a long time around here, is how do we offer what we have, and how do we do it respectfully for our neighbors downstream, for the folks that live here? How can they take and enjoy it as well as we do, as making the money off of it? Water resources, water security remains a top priority. It always has, always will be. We've secured Water Trust Board funding for critical projects, including the Upper Canyon Surface Diversion Rehabilitation. That is the one that actually fills Grindstone Lake. The Two Rivers Raw Water Intake Project. We've also completed leak detection surveys, secured additional water rights, and are developing both water conservation plan and flood contingency planning. These are things that we work on bi-weekly, and it's always at the top of the list on the agenda. Our watershed-based plan will be completed this spring, and our storm drainage master plan will be finished this summer. Strategic tools that will guide our investments in the flood control and water quality for years to come. And you may say, it's a little bit too late. Why is the timing off? Why are you doing it in the summer? Well, the way a lot of things work on this nature, to get these grants and to be able to get them approved, we're, again, the same village of 7,500 to 8,000 people. That's a small community to have this many projects going on. We have projects going on that communities 3 and 4 times our size don't have. And so it's remarkable that we're able to get these things and get them pulled off. But one thing that we do know is that water's always going to is going to be at the top of the list. And so we're always looking, how do we conserve water? How are we a better neighbor to the folks downstream? Excuse me. How do we keep our assets? And an asset is a water tank, is water valves, is water lines, all of that. How do we keep them in best working condition? So with all of these projects, we send them up to get funding. It takes a lot of time. They're not in as big a hurry as we are to review them, to obligate them, for us to find the funding, to go out for engineering, to get the right construction company in, and then we have to work with the weather. And unfortunately, some of these programs and these projects that we were due to start were interrupted by the flood events. And so we pick up where we can, always leaning forward and never giving up. The challenges ahead are real. We must continue repairing our infrastructure damaged by the fires and the floods. We must complete critical projects while managing limited resources. We must rebuild confidence in our community as a destination and a place to do business. And I know one of the things that I get asked all the time is, how do we control our image? And we work hard to control our image on social media. We do get a lot of videos from time to time of disasters happening, of sewer leaking, of things like that get brought round and round and round on social media. That may prohibit, deter, or whatever other words you would like to use, people coming to Ruidoso. So we are addressing those things daily. We work with lodger's tax and the funding that comes in to make sure that we do targeted marking. We do geofencing in the communities that we know the majority of our tourists come from. And not just tourists, but our part-timers, people that come up here and stay a month, 2, 3, 4 months a year, to let them know what's happening today. But we're still going to have to combat those videos that we cannot control. But we're trying to do a better job. We're also working with, True, New Mexico True, the acting secretary, Lansing Adams, is working with our team on getting us additional funding like they did last year during the fire to help us overcome the things that we're working through. And so we do target those markets, and we are active in marketing, geofencing, and looking at different things that we can do to increase traffic. And I think that you don't have to just listen to me talk about it. You can look at our GRT numbers and see how we've started the recovery. A lot of the businesses I talk to in Midtown say they haven't had a better business year, while others are having the worst business year. So we want to work with those that are having success, find out what you're doing different. Some of these are very similar businesses, and work with those that aren't, if you'll let us, on what can we do to help you move forward. And again, sometimes it's us making changes and adapting. And that's the thing that I see all across this village is people are adapting and overcoming. And that's one of the things that I'm very proud of. But in the past year and a half has taught us anything is that this community knows how to meet the challenges. Now, one of the things that we just completed in the last couple of weeks was the comprehensive plan. The last time we completed a comprehensive plan was in 2019. So we had input. We hired a company through a grant. It didn't cost the village or the citizens of the village of Ruidoso a penny. And we were able to get your input. And we appreciate you showing up to the meetings, giving us your input on what you would like to see this community be, to talk about everything from potholes to projects to economic development to housing, all of these things. We took that input and we listened to it. It would be put into a presentation that we will be giving. The public will be invited, and then the village council will then adopt that, those parts of it. That is our playbook. That is the Village of Ruidoso's roadmap, and we follow it. And if you don't believe it, just refer back to the housing that was in the 2019 plan. And what do you see right out here on Meacham? You see 72 units. These things just didn't happen after the fire. We've been working on those things for years to attract the investors. That's a $22 million project. And I'm happy to announce that we received a $5.178 million grant not too long ago that we were able to, I think, conclude. We should have the paperwork pretty soon on the other property that meets up to that property, and we've already have a source that's willing to invest. You know, they would like to have a $30 million investment in the community in workforce housing and retirement community. So you don't get those kind of people unless they're confident in your community that you're going to be here and that you're going to come back stronger. You can't say that about a lot of communities around this country that have been affected by, let's say, hurricanes 20, 25 years ago. I've reached out some of those communities, Katrina, Rita, Wilma, and they still haven't recovered. That's not going to be us. And this is one of the things that's proof in the pudding, that these companies, these people with investment dollars are coming to our community. And I want to talk again about out at the airport. We've attracted, and most of you have heard about the Green Fuels Plant. It's outside investment from a company called IP USA of $135 million that they're bringing into the community, putting their plant, which does not put out any effluent gases. It's going to look like basically like an airplane hangar. Okay, so the village will have a land lease where we'll make rent. They'll make rent payments to us. We'll get to enjoy the GRT that this plant produces, the raw products, and then we've negotiated a back-end deal on the revenue so that one day soon the village will be getting mailbox money off of this. Expected revenues off of this year. Off this plant, the first year is over $52 million. What does it make? It takes all the green waste, all the pine needles that is part of your level of services that you told us as a community that you wanted. So when your pine needles, your slash, all the things are pushed to the front of your property and the village comes by and picks it up, we're going to take that to the plant and turn that into fuel. So we're taking a waste stream and we're turning it to a revenue stream. Currently, we take those products and we haul them 180 miles round trip to Oro Grande, to our dump ground, and we bury it. That doesn't sound very green to me. So this is something that we've been working on for some time that I'm happy to say we're moving forward. Out of that plant, it produces a biofuel, not a biofuel, a green fuel, which is 100% renewable. And they're planning on producing jet fuel, which is the highest rated commodity price that you can get. They have forward-leaning contracts with major oil providers that have a market for this product. Another product off of that is biochar, which we'll be working with Carrizozo and the rail yards to be able to move that product out of here. The byproducts of this plant is water and electricity. So that will help fuel some of the other endeavors that we have with sports complexes and other things that we've had conversations with other outside investment coming to our community. So there's a lot of things that are working that ought to give you, pause away from the catastrophe. And I had a citizen said, we can't take anymore, 24, 25, now 26. We've had freezes before. It's just that this is on top of one after the other. And so stay tough, stay focused, and be happy. And your village is still working hard to make sure that these things are going to come to fruition. And before I close, I would be remiss if I didn't express my deepest appreciation, and I've already touched on it, to the village employees. Day in and day out, our dedicated staff members work behind the scenes and on the front lines to keep our community running, from emergency response to daily operations, from infrastructure repairs to customer service. They pour their hearts into serving Ruidoso on commitment and professionalism, and it does not go unnoticed, and we are truly grateful for all that you do. And I know that we have burned some folks out, and I understand that because of all the hours that people put in. And it got to the point it wasn't about the money. It was just they need time, they need rest, they need their families. And we understand that. So we appreciate it. And as I said before, it does not go unnoticed. And additionally, we've talked about all the awards that our different employees have won in different departments or whatever. And additionally, our manager, Ron Senna, was voted Manager of the Year by the New Mexico Municipal League. And that's 109 cities across the state of New Mexico. So that if that didn't tell you we don't have the A team out here working hard for you, then you're not paying attention. Now, moving forward, as we move into 2026, it's essential that we continue to face our challenges together, united in our commitment to solutions rather than divided by obstacles. Progress requires all of us working collaboratively, supporting one another, and keeping our focus on the shared future we're building. Your village government is here to serve you, to listen to your concerns, and to work tirelessly on your behalf. And together we will continue to rise together. We will build the Ruidoso of tomorrow stronger, more resilient, and forever united by the spirit that makes this mountain community truly special. And if you don't understand that this community's very special, you need to get out and travel just a little bit. And you'll find out that this place is very clean. That shows pride in the community. You'll see that our employees are happy most of the time, but they work hard. And we get compliments on them daily. We even had a nice one on our police department. And I don't know too many police departments around this country that are getting the kind of accolades that we just got. So we appreciate it. Now, before I sign off, I want to thank the Village Council for your service to this community. The 6 of you are truly top-notch individuals, and I'm honored to work with you every day. And I want to thank my wife for putting up with it. I forgot her last year. But she puts up with all of this, all the late nights, all the different things that we do, and I know your spouses do too. And you guys always do your homework. And we're going to miss you, Gary. I know you're not rerunning. And Gary Jackson, Dr. Jackson, has been just a pillar on this council for many years. He's been on the Wastewater Treatment Center, affectionately known as the Joint Use Board, that is ran by the Village of Ruidoso and the City of Ruidoso Downs. So we're going to miss you, and we thank you for your service. But again, I thank my wife for always being there, putting up with the meetings and the dinners that we miss, or the times I go in the grocery store and I get to visit with citizens for an hour and a half while she's shopping. And I love doing that, and she doesn't mind it. So thank you, and God bless you, and God bless Ruidoso. All of this will be in detail on our website now. So, and it'll be a beautiful picture, and I'm always proud of the pictures that our citizens come up with. This one is by Reese Parkinson, but we always talk about our most famous citizens, and that's usually the elk or the horses that are out there. So I appreciate Reese with the photograph, but it'll be on our website. We also will have our latest report on our GRT that we just got in. This is again, and this is just a printout version. It'll be there, but it's pretty in-depth, but it has graphs. It has all kinds of different things that will show you just where the village money comes from and what we're doing with it. If you have any questions, we're here. Please call us. And so you guys have a good night. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you down the road.